welcome to the Truth Couch. I'm your host, Andrea Nicole, and today I have an amazing guest. Like, I don't even know how to describe her, okay? She does so many things. So she is the Queen of Kwanzaa.
Yeah,
right?
I am the self-proclaimed
Queen of Kwanzaa. She's the Queen of Kwanzaa, okay?
Did you know you could give yourself your own title?
That's okay. That's okay. I've learned that from you, okay?
Yes,
and
yes.
I feel like I want to bring that into the atmosphere of this year for me, okay? I'm going to claim myself as certain things, okay?
Okay.
All right. So you're the self-proclaimed Queen of Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
You are now a new recording artist.
Yeah.
Okay, Jevata.
Yeah, that's a whole story.
No,
That's a whole vibe.
We might get into it. We might get into it. But you have this amazing business called Project Move.
I love it.
And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So here today is the one and only Miss Jevata.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Miss Andrea. Okay, now how do you get to call yourself like with two names? Like maybe I want to be two names.
See, you can.
So like tell me.
See, I took a page out of your book, but that was a long time ago. Okay,
Okay, well clearly, how can you take a page from my book? I haven't even written it yet.
My family has this thing where like all of us have like two middle names.
Oh really?
Right. So like my sister is Melissa, Antoinette, Roxanne. Like everyone has these two. Like so like in order for me to like be separate from the rest, I just went with my names. I just went with the two names. So Andrea Nicole is the thing, and there's a longer story behind the Nicole too, but we can't get into that today. That's too much unpacking. We'll unpack that another maybe part 2.
Oh my goodness.
We'll unpack that in part 2. But welcome to the show, Miss Jevata.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well I am so happy to be here, Miss Andrea Nicole.
Okay. I'm gonna fight you after this. Okay. So. Here's the thing.
Sorry.
Here's the thing, okay?
Okay, so just to let you know, we have not done anything prior to this conversation.
Mm-mm.
So this is all just our personality.
Yes.
So I'm just giving you that caveat so that if you think that just maybe I might have sipped on something prior to this experience.
Not on this holy platform.
It's this holy platform that we have. I just want to let you know that you can have this kind of fun and joy and just be yourself.
See, you're starting already.
So I just want to let you know that. So in case you're wondering, this is actually
This
me.
is us.
This is actually me. And if you are wondering, is this actually me? It is actually me.
Mm-hmm.
I have been told, I'm going to say this now to maybe get it out, is that I'm working on this V word. How do you say it? What's that V word that you want me to work on?
What's the V word?
It starts with a V. Oh my gosh, I can't. You don't remember it either?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, maybe it'll come back to us. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just took over. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been telling Miss Jevata that this thing that she does, this amazing thing called Project Move, it's a ministry. Okay, it's a ministry within itself. It is amazing how you've built this thing, right? But today we're not going to talk about, I've seen you do podcasts where you're talking about entrepreneurship, like just start the thing and all that stuff. No, this is the Truth Couch. So we're going to do like a deeper dive into things. So today I feel like I want us to unpack not only the physical aspect of decluttering,
Okay.
but the spiritual aspect of decluttering, right? Because I feel like it's one and the same. It goes together.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like it goes together. And my first question for you is...
I'm going to go ahead and take a drink.
Is you take of the water?
Of the anointed water.
How did this begin? And before you answer, I don't want the conference version of this answer. Because when we think about when people start things, right, it normally comes from somewhere. It comes from like, okay, I used to go through this and I don't go through it anymore, so I'm going to help somebody get over that hump or whatever. I feel like there's something deep to like why this, because this is such a particular thing. So tell the people what Project Move is, and then go into like, how did you start this little bad boy?
Huh. Okay, so if you're looking for Project Move, find us on Instagram. I like to call myself the Project Move curator because I curate people's moves.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find me. It's Project Move _curator if you're looking for me on Instagram. And if you happen to find me on Instagram, send a note and say Jevati post something. That would be helpful. You can also find me on Facebook. It's under just Project Move. You can find me, or you can just look for my name.
Right.
If you find my name, that's my personal page, but I post a lot of stuff going on there. So she wants to know how we got started. So just to let you know, this is actually our 10th anniversary year.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been doing Project Move for 10 years. This year will be 10 years. It's like very surreal because I didn't see it coming. And I will tell people, this is just a little personal hint, as you are doing things in life, you need to record your milestones because I am not great at recording milestones. And so this snuck up on me. So a lot of people will say, thank you for 10 years. Thank you for that. I just say thank you for letting me be in business and doing something that I enjoy. So how did Project Move start? It started out of, like, I would like to say adversity. Most things start out of adversity. I lost my corporate job. I tell people that if you are in corporate, congratulations. It's a wonderful thing for so many people. However, don't let your job be you. Yeah. Because if your job becomes you, then you have to spend the time when that job is not there figuring out what you looks like. So don't do that. That was what I did. And so that job was taken away and I had to find my next. I tell people that moving is really just figuring out what your next step is because that's all movement is. So I got the opportunity because I had some friends who, like, your friends will actually, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that your friends will tell you what you're good at. If you ask your friends, what am I good at? What do I do better than anyone else? So like as Andrine is sitting here telling me that I have a ministry, I'm like, really? I just feel like I just do what I'm supposed to be doing. But she's saying it as a ministry. I said, okay. I can receive that. So ask your friends, like, what do I do well? What do you think I can do? And I had some friends that were like, my mom used a move manager in Atlanta. Why don't you help us out? And I did. It was fun. It was hard. I didn't know what I was doing. But they trusted me. They said, you have some skills. You can try it out. I didn't know what this looked like. And then they were like, well, what are you going to call your business? And then I said, well, I'm good at project management and you're moving, so let's call it Project Move. Well, don't necessarily recommend that either because then you like when you want to register the business, you probably want a name that ain't nobody else got. So that might not be the best way to do it, but I still like Project Move. So then we ended up with, so if you're looking for our website, look how I can like advertise. Like you can go to projectmovelv.com. The reason why we added LV is because Project Move was already taken. So you couldn't have Project Move .com. So and then my sister said, but that sounds like an exercise company. Get it? Project Move Exercise. And believe it or not, the person who had the website was an exercise company. My sister was right this time. I'm not gonna say it right all the time, but this time. So it was like birthed out of someone saying, these are skills and things that you have. I didn't really call it a business at first. It was just something I was just doing. It was just a side hustle. It wasn't like I didn't incorporate. I didn't do anything. I was just like winging it. Really, I was winging it. And I was like trying to figure out what to do. But then I found out that a lot of people struggle with what to do with the stuff. And then I had to figure out what my niche in that stuff was because I was calling myself, I am a professional organizer. But if I say I'm a professional organizer, I had people go, oh, you organize rallies? That wasn't true. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, can you help me do my closet? And that really wasn't true either because I was like, I can do it, but I didn't love it. I love helping people going from A to B. Like say, for example, you are moving to a new city. What are you supposed to do? Like, what are the steps to get you there? I found that I really enjoy that. So the conference answer is, it would be like, oh, I was like studying and figuring it out. Right. The personal answer says instead, ask your friends what you do well. And then look at those skills. Because they were like, you're great at project management. You can figure out how to help us move. And I was like, oh, okay. And so we did fun things, like I called it, it was like a little swap. So like if you, so that there are hundreds of types of moves. Like you could be merging households. Like say you're getting married and you both have a house and you're going to merge households. That is one of my first moves. And let me just tell you, if done correctly, it's seamless. If done incorrectly, you got 4 couches at your house. And like too much furniture, too, like double everything. And then you got to get yourself out of it. And so I'm a fan of not having to get yourself out of it. Like instead of walking that path and figuring out how can I make decisions that are going to make me better, that's going to make me a better person. So Project Move has been through iterations. We're figuring it out. And if you have a business, you have to be fluid and letting the world help you, but not necessarily create you.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you want to think about. But have fun with it. But yeah, it started with, you could do that, and I was like, okay. And then you try it out and you realize, okay, I can do that. But then carving it so that it reflects who I am,
who you are,
and what my true values and what my value proposition is.
And it's so funny because if someone sits down with you and have a conversation with you, they'll say like, yeah, she seems very organized. Like, right? She seems very organized. Even I remember one day we were sitting down and you were telling me like, okay, what are your goals? And I'm like, I don't have. And you're like, really? You need to do this. Sit down, just write out some goals, and not just like 1 to 5 goals. Like write out a ton of them. What are some of the things that you want to accomplish? And it seemed like such a like easy thing. Like it came to you like, and you probably looked at me like an alien. Like what do you mean you don't?
No. One of the things that it's because we're at the beginning of the year. Happy New Year, everyone. And everybody's writing down New Year's resolutions, right. New Year's goals. Oh, I want to be when I grow up, and all of these big things. But what I'm asking you to do is to sit down and actually dream big. I want you to not write down, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want you to instead say, I want to be able to hike with my family. Because hiking with your family probably means you might want to lose 20 pounds because otherwise you ain't going to make it, right? I want you to think that I want to be able to travel the world. Well, that means that you're going to have to figure out your finances.
Right.
I want you to think about like these big things. So like I write on my poster, and I've written it on in a couple years, I want to have $1 million business. But the funny thing is that God will knock on my door and go, do you understand what that means? And I'll be like, well, yeah, I have $1 million business. But there's so much more that goes into that, building that $1 million business. What does that look like? What does staffing look like? What are you doing? All of those are big questions. But I write that on there because I want God to like give me those big questions to ask. Because He can't give me those big questions if I say, I want a $50,000 business. Because He's going to be like, well, shoot, I can give you that tomorrow. Like, you don't have to.
Oh, you don't need me for that. You don't need me to do that.
You don't need me because you can sit there and figure out, like, like basically saying, okay, I can make $1,000 a week. There are lots of things you can do to make $1,000 a week. It's not that, it becomes not that difficult. Not to say if you're not there that we don't know that you got to grow to that. But what I'm saying is there are things that we write down that don't require any intervention. Yeah,
that's true.
And so when you start to like write that list of 100 things, or if 100 seems too big, you start with 20, you start with 10, you start with 5. That list needs to be big things that you can't see how to get to by just your natural eyes. Because if you can see how to get to it, then the odds of you asking God or asking for any other type of support go down. The percentage of you going down, they go down.
And you're right, because that's exactly what happened to me when I started working on the list. I started to write these things down, and I'm just like, okay, how would I even get to that? How would this even happen? Like, He would have to step in.
He would have to step in.
And guide and order my steps in order to get it. So but it gave Him a starting point, and it also showed me that behind the facade of like, no, I don't want to make plans because man makes plan, God laughs.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really have some goals and some things that I would like to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm moving out of the will of God. It's just like it's things that He's planted down on the inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see them come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And He wants it too. So
he wants it. I mean, like, that's how we show how great our God is.
Yeah.
By His fulfilling promises. Like, by you being in a position where, you know, like, I'm working with a client and I wasn't sure how this was going to work out. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, sure, I can do it. Like, I didn't know. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have the resources.
yeah.
And I knew that, but I knew the resources existed. And I knew that God has given me tools so that I can be positioned myself so that I can ask the right questions. I can look for the right partners. I can figure out that next step because He's given me my ability to ask questions.
Yeah.
He's giving me my curiosity. He's given me my expertise. He's given me my presence so that when I ask a question, they understand that I ain't asking just for, you know, oh, she might want to know this. And they've given me the ability to build trust immediately so that when I do talk to other business owners, they can understand they can trust me with their business working with my business. And so that's something that you only get if you say, God, give me bigger assignments. If you keep saying, God, I want to make it to work on time. Well, God's like, look, get up. You know, like,
set your alarm.
Set your alarm. Like, that's not God. God doesn't have to intervene to get you to work on time.
Right.
But if you say, God, I know you have something greater for me and you want me to, you know, be over thousands or whatever. And right now you just manage yourself. Well, you got to see God's going to have to step in, and there are going to be some things that you're going to have to do in order to gain that level of influence. And so, but if you don't, like, I've found that if I don't write this stuff down and just keep it in my head, and this is my one thing that I tell people all the time. If people heard how you talk to yourself, they would stop talking to you. And so being that be the case, that means I need to write it down. I need to get it out because myself can tell me how I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And how I'm not good enough for what God has put in my heart for me to actually do. And so when I think about what Project Move is, I tell people that a move is anything that takes you from where you are right now to your next place. And your next place may not be your final destination. It's just your next place. And so moves are physical, where I pick up A item and move it to B. They are spiritual, understanding how I can grow. They're emotional. They're definitely financial. And they're physiological, because like movement of your body, because you know that whole thing, a body in motion is always stays in motion.
Yeah.
Well, those are things that are true. Like if you are working in God's will and you continue to work in God's will, you will continue to move. You will continue to grow. So like all of those theories where you hear and you're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with that information? But think of it this way. A body in motion is always in motion. When you get still, that's when a lot of things can slip through your fingers. Now, I know you've heard that, you know, like God is a small, still voice and everything, but He didn't say you had to be still to hear His still voice.
Sometimes you have to be, though. Okay, let me tell you why. Sometimes we get so busy. Or in the...
I did not say busy.
No.
I said motion.
Motion. No, that's what I'm saying. But that's I'm explaining the other side of it. Okay. Like when they get busy, then that's when He's going to have to tap you and be like, okay, sit down for a second. Because you're getting busy and you're just making moves on your own. And the moves that you're making are not even making sense. And I'm going to have to reroute you. So I need you to be still for a second. So that's the only time. But yeah, the one that you're mentioning, the motion, there are times when God has said to me, like, I'll ask Him, what do you want me to do? Just move. And while you're moving, I will tell you.
Exactly.
I will order your steps as you're moving. But if you're not even giving me nothing to work with.
Yeah, because it's hard. Like think about all the times you want to start a diet or you're going to start an exercise program. The biggest challenge is the start. And so I tell people that your best day to start is like a Tuesday. Or maybe even a Wednesday. Like, forget the Monday. Forget the first of the month. Like, don't make resolutions on the 1st. Make your resolutions on, like, the 8th. Like, like pick your day. And really think about like all the things that you want to accomplish. Like for example, like she said that I was like a recording artist, which is hilarious. But anyway, that was like a fun thing to do.
Did you record music?
I did record
that
music.
Makes you...
So let me tell you a little bit about that. So you know how, and I know, I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say the majority of us, like if you're my age, and I'll tell, like I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm going to tell you my favorite group was New Edition. So like now figure out how old I am. And if you remember, we all had a favorite New Edition person, and we were all going to go on stage and sing. And our microphones were our hairbrushes and different things. And so we were all recording artists to be during that time. Like between that, we was going to be rappers. We was going to set the world on fire. And what recording was for me was like, it was like a dream that I had pushed down, but I didn't know that I really wanted it. And it was like fulfilling that. Like I wasn't to be a recording artist. It was a reminder that when God gives you a dream or something, a desire of your heart, that it can happen. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and that's okay too. But I got to do something that then opened up for me. It opened up like the possibility of some of the other things that I had put little, like put little caps on to say, no, that's probably not for me. That's probably not for me. And so I'll tell you, one of the things that I said on another podcast, that like Project Move, what it allows me to do, because we're helping you downsizing, relocating, figuring out what to do with your stuff. What it has allowed me to do was that it's given me financial freedom, so that if I want to become a recording artist, I can do that.
Look at that.
And it's giving me tools that I hope to be able to share with you. And so let's talk about some of the tools that we talk, like,
okay,
because the funny thing is, this chick over here, this one with two names, this chick with two names that's sitting next to me, it's her podcast. But sometimes I think when I go on podcasts, I decide they're my podcast. Okay. And so I like to pretend like I'm going to interview her now.
Okay, so listen. So it's the truth count. So it's really a conversation. So it's not about interviews. If the spirit of the takeover happens, it just happens. Okay, it's a joint thing happening, right? So I was sitting back thinking, right?
What was you thinking? What was you thinking, girl?
I was thinking about, okay, when you walk into people's houses and you see it like a mess. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't even know if this is what it looks like. If it looks like hoarders or something like that, right?
Okay.
Like, where's your first place to start? Like, how do you start with them? Like, is it like a conversation of just like, how did we get here? Or is it like, okay, let's tackle this first and then we'll take another step after?
My first thing that I do whenever I walk into someone's home is that my goal is to build a relationship with that person before we do anything, because it's an honor that someone has said that I welcome you into my home, and I need to respect that, because many people have not invited anyone into their home for a while. And so I want to make sure that they understand that I respect that they have made a choice, that I can be a partner with them as they walk through that journey to their next, whatever that looks like. And so that first conversation, like, I don't need to walk around. I can look around and I can see opportunities. But the other side of it is, I want to know where they're trying to get to. Because my level of organization and your level of organization are going to be two very different things. And so a lot of times when I speak with people, I need to understand what their story is and what they're trying to actually get to. Because a lot of times we will see a Pinterest picture and we'll say, I want my room to look just like that. And I'll say, what will you get if your room looks just like that? Will it have solved any of the problems or opportunities that you had? So it's really about, like, I walk in say I'm walking into your home, the first thing I want you to do is to trust that I care about your space and I care about you. Because one, it's not Javati's vision that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a space that reflects who you are and what you want your environment to reflect.
Yeah.
And that is like the bigger picture, because a lot of times it's not about stuff. It's about what is that experience that you want to have when you walk into your home. Like, what do you want to feel? Like, how do you want to feel? Who do you want to be? And those things are so, so important.
Yeah.
And that transcends over the let's throw away some paper or whatever, because if we can't get to some of the underlying issues of how you arrived here, you will be right back there. And that's the part that I want to help encourage you not to do.
Yeah.
Is to end up in that same place again, because then you're going to feel like, well, Javati's a waste of money.
Right.
And I ain't a waste of money. I love spending money, but I ain't a waste of money. So yeah, so I mean that's the first thing that I do.
That's great. I love that, because you can't get to the root of the problem with a person when you're not really allowing them the opportunity to let their guards down and feel comfortable to be able to do that. And yes, my home is my sanctuary, right? And I want to curate a space where I feel peace, because when I step outside of these doors, you know what I deal with.
I tell people all the time, if when you come home and you're in the midst of chaos and you don't feel good, a lot of times it follows you.
Yes.
So you don't want to be in a position where it's going to continue to follow you.
Yeah.
And so, and to me, I mean, like, curating your home, I see so many pretty pictures and I go, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. And then I realize that I have to find my path.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, so I picked this year, I picked authenticity for my word, for this year. So, in 2023, it was reset. And that was like, it was okay to start over.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, okay, continue that conversation. And the word for 2022, because I just started it in 2022, was moving forward. I guess it's 2 words, but it was moving forward, because I wanted to use a word for moving.
Yeah.
So I chose those. So when I think about that, I'm moving forward to a reset to my authenticity. Like, you can just put those things in a sentence.
Yeah.
And so the reason I pick a word is because I read an article and they were like, you really need to have something that you can always go back to. And so I picked that for authenticity this year. And it's a hard word, because that means that I have to be comfortable in myself.
Yeah.
In order to be authentic, you got to be able to look in the mirror and be like, I like it. And some days it's hard to say I like it.
Whew. All right. So let's get deep.
We weren't deep before?
Yes, deeper. Okay, listen, I tell people all the time, my ministry is being vulnerable, right?
That's the V word that you wouldn't say.
I wouldn't say it, but I'm going to let it slip now, but I wanted you to say it, because I need to sit in your spirit so you can be able to say it, so it comes naturally to you, so you can do it, okay?
What is my facial expression telling you?
Okay, so my dear sis over here, she's not the most vulnerable, as she would say. So she said that we needed to come up with a safe word.
Yes,
okay?
Yes, we
All
did.
Right.
We did come up with a safe word, and I love my safe word.
Okay. So tell the people what your safe word is.
My safe word is lotion.
Okay.
And you just take it. You use it. Whatever comes to mind and makes you giggle. That is why I chose it. Continue.
Okay. So the safe word is so if I'm going too deep and you're just like, no, girl.
I'm gonna need a little lotion.
See
how you can say it like. See how you can say it. Okay. Like I'm gonna need a little lotion.
Okay.
That's how I'm gonna say it.
Smooth it out a little bit.
Like smooth it out a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, just a thick cream. Okay. There we go.
So I'm gonna start with my vulnerability, and then maybe you'll dig into some of yours, right? All right. So
maybe not.
Okay. So here we are, my home, right? And I would say you walk into my home, I try to maintain and keep it clean. And, I try. There's a lot going on here. Okay. There's a lot of space. So.
And I will tell you, the more space you have, the more stuff you think you need. Continue.
Child. But I will say this. My issue is not the facade. Because you can walk through the house and oh, okay. This looks cool. My issue is when you now decide to open my drawers.
Oh, okay.
Right? When you open my drawers, there is my clutter. There is my hoarding. There is my mess.
Your stuff.
My stuff. Right? And before you came here today, yesterday, because, I meditate with God in the morning, I kind of asked him, like, okay, what am I doing today? And he said, you're going to clean. And I was like, okay.
I don't know if God ever told me to clean.
Listen, he deals with us differently, okay? He don't have to tell you to clean because you're the move girl. You got things going. You got it, okay?
Right.
With me, he kind of has to order my steps in all things, okay? I'm a mess, okay? So I said, what do you mean the house is clean? See, he's like, that vanity room that you haven't touched yet. You need to go in there. So I'm in the vanity room and I'm going through the stuff and I'm finding things, finding like
stuff.
Oh man, all right, I'm gonna dig, I'm gonna go. So I'm finding like makeup, like these lipsticks that are like old. I feel so ashamed.
So for the record, just from a lipstick standpoint, because you're probably wondering how old or what is the expiration point for lipsticks. Just going to give her a little breather right now.
Okay.
So if it is an unopened lipstick, never broken the seal, 9 out of 10, it's probably fine. But typically they say no, like 12 to 24 months for a lipstick from like start to finish. So like if you opened it today, I would say that next year, 2026, this day, you should be getting rid of that lipstick.
Okay.
So that's just a little aside.
Okay, so she just made my story even worse. Okay, she's giving you clarity, but she just like landed a ton of bricks on me. Okay, so all right. So you guys remember?
If it happens to be your favorite lipstick that your mama used to wear, I understand why you're keeping it.
Okay. So guys, I don't know. To my girlies out there, do you remember when like Rihanna had like the MAC collaboration and then she did like the Ruby Woo collab? So like I went to a Rihanna concert. It was like one of my first concerts, right? And it was during that time, the collaboration, and they were selling the Ruby Woo lipstick. And I bought like 4 because Ruby Woo is like my favorite lipstick. I love that red. It matches my chocolateness. It goes, right? But after that was it. Rihanna is Fenti'd up and there's nothing happening. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this just in case, right? So I held on to that. And then there was another MAC lipstick. I think it was called Purple Haze. And like, it was like a purple
She know that's what it was called. Stop tripping.
It looked so good on me, right? So it was that. And but mind you, they're finished. But my thought process was, okay, I'm going to save these and I'm going to go online. I'm going to search for it because I know people bought this up and they have it. So I can search for it and go buy it. That's how I logically told myself to hold on to these things. Now, I was pregnant with my daughter when Rihanna Ruby Woo came out. Okay?
So her daughter old.
She 14, child.
She old.
So I was like, wait, girl.
I like sometimes to pretend like I'm a comedian.
I'm like, I saw it. I was like, Andreen, why? And then, of course, I remembered, like, God brought it back to my spirit, why I justified to myself that I need to hold on to. And I said, yeah, that's the problem. I do that to hold on to it, but I never do the action. So it keeps stacking up. So I did throw it away.
So I'm going to stop her for a moment. I'm just going to lay something on your spirit that's on my spirit. So you have to, when you're in those moments, you have to decide, is your God a God of abundance or a God of lacking? If your God is a God of abundance, that means that this lipstick, you will find another shade. So that's an opportunity for you to decide which camp you want to live in.
Yeah. Well, I was living in the lack camp at the time.
Yes. So have you moved
my
your
mindset?
tent?
Yes, I have. I threw it out.
Did you move your tent?
I moved my tent. I had to move my tent. Like, he wasn't playing with me last year. He's like, listen, we can't move the way we need to move if you're still gonna move in the spirit of lack. Like, that's not me, and I don't want you to portray me like that. So we need to move the tent. So she's moved the tent. However, we moved from that area now, and now I'm in my bedroom. And I was going between my bedroom and my guest room, and on my guest room right now is like I don't know, like, you just triggered me, and I just started to do all this stuff. So I'm like, have all these folded clothes in my guest room on the bed, and I'm going through those, and those are like the stuff that I'm like wearing now, or newer things or whatever. So then I went into my room and I realized the problem is not those things. The problems are my drawers that are in my bedroom. Right? And the thing about it is the stuff that's in my drawer in my bedroom are like now what I call house clothes.
Oh yeah, the infamous house clothes. Things that are I'm going to give you a definition. The things that are too good to throw away because I could still wear them around the house. Is that the proper definition of a house clothes?
It's that, and then God took me a little bit deeper.
So a helpful hint that I like to offer people is to decide how much space some of these things can take up in your life. Mm-hmm. And then once you decide on that amount of space, then it's much easier to thin out those selections. So for example, house clothes. If you choose, do you like my voice?
I like the voice change. It's soothing.
Yeah, so the voice change. So if you want to have house clothes, you can have a drawer of house clothes, but you cannot have a dresser of house clothes. Oh. And the reason being is that you will never be at your house that long without being able to do laundry.
So I have a dresser of house clothes.
And I'm going to say that's probably a couple drawers too many.
Yeah. And here's the problem. Here's where we're going to get deeper and more spiritual, what God was revealing with me. I have some attachments to clothes that are in that drawer because some of them represent a life that I lived that I was not present for.
I understand that.
Tune in next week for part 2 of Decluttering with Faith and Purpose.